Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Splat World Series Rewound, where this is definitely the first take, and you will not question us whatsoever. My name's Kbot, joined by Popgun. On this episode, we're bringing you Milky Way versus Fruittella, a losers round one matchup. Popgun, of course, all of the Western teams down here on the losers bracket. It's now the in the zone equivalent as we look forward here.
It is. We are casting losers round one for the first time in human history, but it's still a matchup you would expect to see in maybe a winner's semifinals, maybe even a winner's finals, depending on who signed up. Milky Way, one of the top teams coming out into the scene with a combination of Jackpot and Starburst, still sticking with the kind of candy bar, still kind of space galaxy theme, still the same kind of result you expect out of those players. But Fruittella recently picked up Phoenix from Vanguard, has been a great player for them. Phoenix not playing in this set. This is the old school Fruittella that's been playing together, the same core forward for such a long time now.
Yeah, of course, should be fun to watch. I know this Fruittella team has come through with a handful of different compositions and trialed a handful of things out. I'm watching Punchy specifically, who I expect will maybe play the Frozen Pro, but here on the Vanilla Splash. And we're diving right into this one here, but an interesting composition out of Milky Way. It's the Frozen Pro, it's the Ashen Try, and N-Parry Dualies here for Jared.
Yeah, this is a map that is technically illegal to use pencil on just because of the zone being in the middle, but you do see the dapples coming out, the red dapples from Fruittella. I believe that is Crowny doing their best impression of Biscuit on this map and mode, providing beacons and soda, which means you're going to be able to get back into the action very quickly. There'll be a lot of punches being thrown by Fruittella here.
And we'll see if they're going to be able to capitalize on it here. Looks like early on, maybe they've got some advantage, but hard to tell here in the back and forth. In the scrum, Milky Way will come away with the zone and is now going to start pushing towards this ramp here. Jared pushing the issue on those N-Parry Dualies. All the meanwhile, Ice is holding down the fort on the back lines here, providing those jumps in. And now here we're really going to see what happens. Jared finds one triple splash down. There's a second, and Jared's going to keep going on a tear here, it looks like. Gets another one on a slurp, and Milky Way quickly running away with this one.
I don't really get those ink strikes used a little bit while ago with their last player left alive. Would have really liked to have them when all their players were up on the side of Fruittella, and now they're not going to have them to work with. No Booyah Bomb either. Here comes somebody flanking around on the right side. That's Punchy on the Crab, trying to attack some zones, now being combined with the ink strikes. The two specials on the zone together do a great job, but it's a couple of splats that are being taken away from Milky Way as well that's opening up the door for Fruittella to start creating a lockout. They'll need it because they don't have any specials to work with right now.
We also need to find a pass here, otherwise it's going to be a punish on the other way. The Teta Missiles are going to be able to find that one there. The Frozen Pro claims another, and I guess Ice credited with this one too. Milky Way, you want to stop going on absolute tears at the moment. There's another two-down situation here, and .Q throws down the cooler, saying, I don't want to give up this ramp quite so easily, despite the fact that we're two down. The jumps are probably going to come through, and we'll have to see what Fruittella has to respond, but Punchy getting one with the Crab is a good start.
That's huge, actually, because they were burning their specials just to get out of their spawn. They needed to get a splat, at least with some of them, and now the Crab able to get a splat with soda in their system as well. And look at Slurp just going right on in, getting a huge double right now. The splashdown able to stall out the zone, but that's going to be a splashdown that's not going to be able to be used a little bit later. Fruittella hanging around in here. Milky Way seemed to be playing a little bit better in the first half, but Fruittella's got control of things right now.
Have control, not pushed up too terribly far here, and I imagine there's going to be an opportunity, but with few specials online right now for Milky Way, going to be difficult in order to make this one fully happen. Cooler goes down here for Fruittella, and imagine that was grabbed. .Q able to claim one. There's the Milky Way cooler here as well, but Crowny comes up with yet another. Trades continue, but the wipeout goes through for Milky Way that jumps back in from Fruittella right down there to that cooler, and now they're just 20 ticks away from the knockout.
Yeah, what's the situation going to be? They're going to have to try to find a way to get Jared splashed down in. That's why Jared feeding right up top there, though. That's going to be lead. That might be game. These missiles are going to come out in time. Fruittella with a stunner in game one. It came down to, can Jared get into that right spot? They can do the splashdowns. The hands land on the zone, but got splatted before they could even activate it. And at that point, it was just dogpile into the zone, right into the hands of Fruittella. A huge win in game one.
It's a very risky play there at the very end, right, for Jared to attempt to go for something like that with the curling bomb getting sent out, but they had no other option. And how are you going to try to approach this zone? The best chance, obviously, maybe you send one player to drop right, but at this point, who, especially when Jared's got this one, just trying to get in there any way possible. As a last-ditch effort, this probably is not exactly what you would have wanted if you were Milky Way, and it's an easy cleanup from Fruittella. But the other thing I want to call out is that Milky Way had the opportunity to win that game earlier, but it was Punchy dropping from the right with that crab tank going down there, and they weren't able to be successful in sniffing that one out ahead of time. Punchy teams up with the triple ink strike. That's what opens up the door for the game to continue in the first place.
Twice they had an opportunity to put Fruittella away. Now, keep in mind, this is losers round one. I get it. And both teams aren't used to playing in losers this early on. But Milky Way was kind of hoping that they would be winning in their first set and moving on and still playing against teams from Japan. Coming down into this one early versus Fruittella, who probably should have expected to be here anyways. The mental game of knowing Fruittella has nothing to lose. They just got to be scrappy, just do enough to keep the zone flipped back. Eventually, they're going to get that lockout created. But if you're Milky Way, you're saying, we really should have put this team away way before they even got to the point they could make a comeback.
Barnacle and Dime is their pick. Remember, best of 3, tournament life on the line. Milky Way, possibility of going home here in losers round 1. It's their counter pick, maybe looking for that longer range, and indeed, you see quite a significant compositional shift out of Milky Way brand back to the S-Blast. You see the Frozen Pro and the Vanilla Dualies here from Jared pairing with Q's Snipe Rider.
Hey, the pencil's coming right back out. It's almost like we can play the game the way that the great Zapfish intended it, or at least for zones at this point. Punchy's still going to be rocking that crab, really helped them out in game 1. Slurp's going to be come out and eliminating a couple of players. Actually, this is potentially a wipeout right here. There goes Ice. A delayed wipeout. Fruittella pick it up right where they left off. This is a great opportunity for them to keep pushing up because they got specials to work with as well. Going to have Booyah Bomb and Ink Strike. Maybe another crab ready to go soon.
Love the team up, love the aggression, approach the stack from 2 different angles, and Fruittella in complete control right now. Maybe an opportunity here to push at these strikes. No, just electing to kind of screen it out for the most part here while Milky Way continues in an attempt to approach. They will find the cap, but they've already burned all of their resources. They're not going to be able to push through the zone to find much of a hold here at all, and what do they get for it? Couple of trades. They can't get rid of Punchy right now, who continues to be elusive. All 4 members of Fruittella now are on here, and we are in complete neutral territory.
It was just kind of who was going to blink first right there, and it looked like Fruittella was the team that opted to make the play, trying to flank around that right side of the map, but ultimately got shut down by Milky Way. They have control of the zone, using some missiles that will displace Fruittella for a little bit here, and this is the first time Milky Way's had since the first half of last game where they can finally start to breathe. But just as I say that, Kbot, 2 of them immediately go down. The rest got to start retreating. The zone's going to flip back to Fruittella here.
Once again, great crossfire setup with the crab tank there, comes through. You see Slurp pushing forward, now harassing Jared in the crab tank, has to go on the ball. He's going to be able to find Slurp there. Nora going to find the trade on the way out, and Punchy jumps back into the zone, maintaining the space right now for Fruittella is the name of the game, and the more time they can whittle off of a team like Milky Way, the better.
And now it just comes down to, can you keep Crownie alive and just keep forcing these back and forth tug and war situations right now? Because they're doing a good job. Milky Way's getting control of the zone. They're not able to find ways to start pushing up. They had a great opportunity right there. There goes the crab. Jared trying to make something happen around here, forcing Crownie to be displaced off of that ledge. Getting another nice flat on top of that as well. Keep in mind, this is the crab dualies. that Jared is using right now. So a great opportunity should be lead here for Milky Way.
Looks like it might be, but nobody pushes forward with that crab tank. We're expecting to see like Brand start sneaking forward, but instead electing staying back, holding this corner. They will find the lead, but now Punchy trying to get set up in the crab tank. Finds one and pairs up with a teammate in order to get that splat. And now starting to storm forward towards the zone here. Booyah Bomb is out. Jared has to be careful. Has his passive exit minimized for a moment, but two go down on top of the zone for Milky Way here. Jared's got to come up huge with a play. Punchy going to find one, but Fruittella is going to cap right back. Crowdy looks like they're going to establish themselves here on top of the zone.
Every time we cut to Jared, it seems like they're making a heck of a play to keep Milky Way in this one. I know they got the lead right now, but those penalty points are starting to tick away, and they only have missiles to start to work with right now. Brand getting picked off along that right side, trying to just kind of make something happen that wasn't really there, stuck in the pit area. Kbot, this is looking like a really good situation. Those missiles getting popped out right now, but look at Fruittella starting to push up as the missiles come out instead of retreating and take the fight right back to him.
Booyah Bomb, tripling strikes all coming out here. Jared in the crab tank has to try to find something, but it's Nora from behind taking out the crab. It's still orange on top of the zone, and Fruittella secures it. The 2-0 sweep over Milky Way is a statement victory from Fruittella.
You know, this is losers round one. This might be a set we might not look back on over the course of the tournament, but for Fruittella, this is in a best of three set, mind you. This is honestly the best win they've had that I can remember, especially with these four same players have been playing together for such a long time. And you gotta wonder the mindset of Milky Way after losing the lead in the first one, after being so dominant in the first half. You see it. You kind of called out Jared popping the crab, but nobody else really pushing up. That kind of indicates a little bit of nervousness, a little bit playing not to lose instead of finding a way to win. Maybe played a role in how everything worked for there. Because you saw Jared played like they didn't really care. Like, I'm just going to take fights because I know I'm better than all of you. Where's the rest of Milky Way coming to capitalize off of that was the problem.
Yeah, it felt like Brand didn't really get much activated at all, right? You would expect, I mean, Brand, we've known him to come out in full force, but there didn't feel like he played very large of an impact on the game. And I wonder if the stats from Beep will tell us something of that sort. But again, right, you think about how Milky Way is able to come in and the mental game, not only contained within the best of three, but dropping down after maybe assuming they had a chance, right, against their round one opponent. Certainly something that Milky Way has to go back to the drawing board with, but Fruittella able to find the punishes in the small margins of error that Milky Way might occasionally leave.
And this is exciting for Fruittella. What can you do off of this win? Yes, they're going to play a tough Japanese team in the next round, but you think over the course of the Splat World Series, including the qualifiers, Fruittella getting a third place finish in the first one, winning the second one, and now parlaying that into a win against one of the top three teams in the West. This is a bright future for Fruittella, especially with the roster that they're putting together. Excited to see what they do off of this.
Well, this has been the Splat World Series Rewound. Stay tuned to the rest of the IPL YouTube channel for the remaining matches from the Splat World Series Finals Day. Stay tuned for more action.
溝気くねくちゃわりに手のどぎられました